Good evening, everyone. Welcome in. Hello, Butterfly. How are you doing this evening?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing okay right now. I rested earlier and I feel a little better. So,
Oh, that's good.
yeah, kiddo's back to school and back to work, so he's feeling much better. So,
Oh, that's really good.
yeah, he got cleared yesterday for everything, so we're good to go. I think we're on the road to recovery, mending.
Nice. Hi, Kimber.
Hey, Kim. Kim's going to hang out and chat with us. She has the link. She might come up in a little while. Um, we're
Awesome.
going to give it a few minutes and let people trickle in if they want to come in true crime with us. If not, we'll talk about it with ourselves. Um,
Right.
we've got some things we wanted to talk about anyway. Um,
Right.
there is a Delphi update that's important and I want to get to as well. That won't take too terribly long. And then a new update in the Crystal Rogers case that I've been following. And um,
Yes.
yeah, I think we kind of touched on it here, but I have a lot of the backstory, that we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna kind of go over a few things there with that and get the latest current update. Have you followed that case any?
Yes.
Oh, good. So you
Not
know,
extensively, but I know most of it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's been an interesting case from the beginning. The fact that
Mm-hmm.
she's been missing since 2015. Um, Three people are in jail right now,
Right.
including her ex-boyfriend, murder charge, all the
Mm-hmm.
things, but we don't know where she is.
Right.
So hopefully, um, they're on the right track to finding her now.
I
Um,
really hope so. That poor family suffered so much already.
I know. I've also Sherry's been through a lot, hasn't she? Um,
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Chelsea. I had a hard time the other day. I was trying to pronounce. I've been sick all week, so I'm like, I can't even see. Everything's blurry. Chelsea Russerics. Okay, that's gonna be taking me a little bit used to say. I might just call you Chels. Hey Chels, what's up, girl? Thanks for coming in and hanging out with us. We will attempt to talk true crime again tonight. And
Yep.
Butterfly, you and I are going to be getting together this week. We've got so much material that we want to present in the Madeline Soto case.
Yes.
And
Overwhelmingly.
yeah, and I think we've had some time to process what we were taking in a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and we still got brand new documents we still haven't went over to and or anything. So um,
Right.
we will be putting together that show for one evening this week. She and I are both busy in the daytime, and Kimber's busy in the daytime. So evenings are best for us during the week.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so we'll get the show together and we'll try to present it once again and honor Maddie the way we're trying to do. Because you
Right.
know what I've been thinking about a lot with that guy Stearns. I call him
Mm.
Steph anymore.
Yeah, I can't stand his name. I can't even. I hate to
It's
say his name.
I
Call him
can't.
monster.
Yeah, right. I know, and it's really hard. I cannot even create a thumbnail with Maddie's photo and his in the same thumbnail.
Yeah,
I just
agree.
mm-mm. I like if it's gonna be talking about him and Jen, I'm gonna leave it at him and Jen on the. I just feel
Right.
really icky putting her there. It's like, nope,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do her by herself. She deserves it.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah. She don't need to be with him anyway
I mean, I'm not downing it. I mean, I
anymore.
get it. I understand why it's done, and I go view that material. It's not that. It's just I have
Right.
a hard time putting her photo beside his and looking at it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that bothers me. But I think the biggest takeaway that I'm learning is how guys like him operate.
Right.
Because understanding how psychopaths operate and the measures they'll take to succeed at their game and get what they want
Mm-hmm.
and to craft that manipulation game over time. It's that's not giving Jen any kind of free pass. Don't get me wrong. You know where I stand with that girl. But
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of women out there and men who are just naive and don't because they're so good at their game. It's not their fault.
Right.
It's
Right.
predator's fault. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the biggest takeaway here, and that's getting lost because of Jen's bullshit.
Right.
Um,
Her her responsibility as a parent
eh, yeah,
to either.
talking about the other day locally that occurred a few years back, and they found out that every time the man did what he wanted to do, he knew the other person, the other adult, was not home because he was tracking them on their Life 360 app. We got
Oh.
to be safe as a
Mhm.
family. Need to know where you're
Right.
at. I have it. My child and I, we've used it for years. It's very, very accurate. Let me just say that. Been tracking
Okay.
this kid since he was 8 and he's 17. I
Mhm.
always know where he is. I can tell you how fast he drove my car to work. He hates that.
Mom.
I know, "Mom, really, Mom? Stop looking at the app. I can't till you get there. Park the car, baby, and text me. You'll
Right.
see when I get there. It don't matter. I just don't need to get that text."
Right.
But anyway, yeah, the guy knew when she wasn't there, right?
Mhm.
So they're very manipulative and very, methodical as to what they do. So it's hard to yes, it's hard, to understand is to know how to spot the signs exactly.
Mhm.
That's what we've talked about here is the red flags and the warning signs that you can pick up in these stories. Hi, Siggy, welcome in. Um, and that's all we can do because it's not fun to talk about this story. It's been a heavy, heavy topic for Butterfly and all of us. Um,
Mhm.
but we've deep dove this material, she and I, the deep into the documents and reading. We've read some disgusting things here, but
Right.
I don't think Maddie enjoyed those disgusting things any more than I had to read them. So,
Right.
um,
Hers was way worse than
yeah,
what
what
we
she
experienced reading them.
right, she experienced in real time, and we just experienced how gross it was to read all that stuff. But
Mhm.
I think the biggest takeaway needs to be to teach the red flags and the warnings. And how they operate. They seek out
Right.
certain families for certain reasons because they believe they're vulnerable and they have a shot. Sometimes
Mhm.
it works and sometimes it doesn't. You
Right.
know, so I think all that's important to look into. Finally, I I remember you saying that and got this update. I think it was early this morning. I've been sick all week, so things are kind of running together, but I didn't sleep a lot last night, so I was up and down, and I found this last night. I was like, "Holy cow, we gotta go live and talk about this." Um, so yeah, your sister lived in one of the houses of Brooke. Brooks Hauk is was the boyfriend of Crystal Rogers. They were dating and living together. Hey, Danger, I miss you, buddy. Thank you for coming in. Um, so a little backstory on Crystal. They lived in Bartstown, Kentucky. She had 4 children and she was divorced. She entered into a relationship with a man named Brooke Hawkes. Brooks came from a good family in town. They did okay. He was doing well, owned some properties, a real estate company type deal, renting out properties and stuff. His brother was a police officer. Their mother and grandmother had ties in the community, land, and money. So there you go, small town, tiny town America. So you got that element already in there. And then the brother being a cop is going to come into play later. But so Crystal disappears 4th of July weekend, 2015. He doesn't report her missing. Her mother has to track him, where's Crystal? The kids haven't heard from Crystal. They start looking for Crystal. She bumps into him at the store. Hey, where's my daughter? Well, I haven't seen her anyway. Here we are, 2024. Crystal's never been found. 2023, Brooks was finally indicted on murder charges, complicity to murder, and tampering with physical evidence. There were also 2 other people arrested, Steve Larson and Joseph Larson, father and son. They were originally connected to, I believe it was Joseph, was connected to the death of Crystal's father, Tommy. Tommy was shot a year after he began his own investigation into his daughter's disappearance because
Mhm.
it was going nowhere. It was a cold case. Nobody could find her. There was evidence out there. Her car was found, all the things, a purse in it, keys in it, phone in it, running with a flat tire on the Bluegrass Parkway, but no Crystal. So Tommy said, not going to have it. I'm going to find my daughter. And from everything I have reviewed on this case, Tommy was getting close. Tommy knew things. People were talking to Tommy. Tommy was shot and killed early one morning, standing next to his grandson, executed on
Wow.
his own property while hunting.
Awful.
And yeah, and so somehow during the investigation into Tommy's death, it was uncovered that the gun used, and I got to review this, guys. I'm just going to give you my best remembrance right now. It's been a minute. The
Mhm.
weapon used was tied to Brooks' brother, the police officer, which
Okay.
started the ball. I don't, so that now we're here we are. Now the brother, the police officer, Nick, you're going to hear about him in the through the process here. He was fired eventually from his job for interfering with the investigation of Crystal Rogers. When Brooke Houck's parents were called before the grand jury, grandmother refused to testify. She has passed away, and a property she once owned is being searched right now by the FBI for Crystal's remains. The
Yeah.
rest of the family did testify before the grand jury and were caught trying to record their own grand jury testimony. So this case has got it all, right?
Mhm.
That's just already
Yep.
there for the yeah, so we're gonna explore Crystal Rogers' case, and I've got a
It
lot
took
of
how many
information.
years before he was arrested?
She went
10,
missing in
over 10?
2015. Yeah, 2015 and 2023 he was finally arrested. He had some charges before that to do with excuse me guys, I got a cough. Um I think there was some fraud charges involved. Um
Mhm.
Speculation. Crystal worked for him in the company. And they did live together, and
Mhm.
apparently there might have been some issues that he felt a certain kind of way about her 4 kids, and they had their child together, right? Your kids, my
Yeah.
kid thing. Crystal was a fantastic mother, and those kids came first.
Mhm.
But people feel like she may have found out some of his shady dealings in the business,
Right.
and was that brought up when it was time to say, I need to leave you, because it was, I think, coming to that point. You know what I mean? According to her
Right.
mother and things that were said, was she getting ready to leave him? And was that little boy the catalyst for all of this, right? Their son. So
Mhm.
that's what we're going to explore while we explore the bizarre case of Crystal. But I hope they find her. Um,
Yeah, me too.
I'm sorry, I was reading Siggy's comment. Siggy, I never did get an email from you. I've checked a couple times, so don't forget.
I
Nope.
remember seeing some of the police interrogations of the
Yes,
brother and him.
I have all that. I've had it on a playlist. I've got some
Mhm.
private playlists of cases I do look at, and so I've been following the case for years, right? Because I've known about Crystal's disappearance and story for years before
Mhm.
Brooks was arrested. But I do have all that. I have the full interview of Brooks at the police station, where he and the brother as
Called
well.
his brother.
Mhm. Remember the brother call? He calls the brother,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
the brother's, and he's like, "Oh well, if you're telling me I should just leave and not ask any more questions, and all right, well, I'm just trying to be, I'm not making fun of
Yeah.
his accent because I'm from the South, but
Right.
he was laying it on, right? Yeah.
Rehearsed probably.
Oh gosh, yeah. So during his police interrogation, his police officer brother and him have a phone call, and the
Mhm.
police officer brother advises him, you shouldn't talk to the police, you probably need to walk out there and go get an attorney. Oh well, if you really think I should, I got nothing to hide, but okay. So
Yeah.
we're going to review all of that. We just won't do it all tonight, guys. I am on the back end of recovery. Me and my kiddo, we've had some virus going around our house all week long. Hadn't been pretty. um,
Health
I did
first.
I did way better than my kiddo. Poor guy got the pneumonia, it's like out of
Oh, jeez.
nowhere. And
Yeah.
he is so much better.
Yeah.
Danger. Thank you. My favorite research partner in the entire world. Um, so what I'm going to do is we're going to watch this news clip. Let's see, let me get it all pulled up here. So the FBI conducted a search, like I was saying, of the property. It was formerly owned by Brooks's grandmother, and she had passed away. And I guess they were finally able to. They'd searched other properties before this one. I believe there was a couple. I've got the videos on that as well.
Mhm.
But there was really nothing. There was nothing. There was never a crystal. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
they've always known. I think a lot of us know she is at one of these property
Right.
locations. Do you know what I mean? They were doing
Mhm.
construction. They were building.
Right.
Um, so yeah, let me get this pulled up for you guys.
Yeah. I didn't look at I saw the headline, but I didn't look at it because I was like, well,
Whoops.
she's gonna go over this, so I'll wait.
Yeah, I did review it because I try to review the things before I put it
Yeah.
out here because I don't, But I have some very trusted local news sources for the cases I do follow. And there's
Mhm.
actually Shay McAllister, let me just say this, is out there. She is in Bardstown, and you may know who I'm talking about, Siggy. Um, she's a journalist from Bardstown, Kentucky. She has
Mhm.
a podcast that she has done on Crystal Rogers' case. She has deep dove this case. She knows, gotten to speak to the families and gotten to know Sherry very well, and Sherry has talked a lot with her. And we're going to take a look at Sherry's story because it's super important. Um, to get Sherry's voice out there. Her Not only her daughter, but her husband. It's
Mhm.
like what actually
Yeah.
is going on here, tiny town America. You're going to get what you deserve, and the people aren't having it. So,
Mhm.
um, hey Joe, thanks for popping in before you head out. Um, Enjoy your dinner, by the way. I love to go out to eat. It's like my favorite thing to do. Me and my kiddo found a couple
Yeah.
of new. I live like in like down the road from. Well, I live in tiny town, but
Mhm.
the heart of tiny town is tiny. But I
Yeah.
ventured out there yesterday and I realized, oh, this is where that little restaurant is everybody was talking about. Oh my God, it smelled good. So my kid and I have to
Well,
go try
that's
that
good.
place out. All right, let me pull this up, get the screen share up here because I don't want to talk too much. I sound horrible. Like the more I talk, the more I have to struggle to talk. All right, so this
Right.
is the news clip, guys. Let me know if you guys can hear everything in the chat, please. And because I don't want to interrupt the video. It's not too terribly long. All right, here we go.
FBI launches a new search connected to the Crystal Rogers case.
WLKY News Chopper is live where agents have spent the day searching a property in Nelson County. WLKY's Madison Elliott is live on the scene with what we know at this hour. Madison?
Good evening, Rick and Jennifer. No body has been found. That is the latest update we received from the Nelson County Sheriff's Office just about a half hour ago or so. We're off of a small residential road here in Cox Creek, and so there's not a really good place for us to go, but I'm going to step to the side just so we can show you from the ground what we're seeing right now. There were some police vehicles that actually maybe just minutes ago just left as well, so they may be wrapping up that investigation for today. Now, records show the property once belonged to members of the Hauk family. Rogers' former boyfriend, Brooks Hauk, is now charged with her murder. The FBI says the search began at the property on Tuesday. Here's a look at the search from the WLKY News Chopper earlier today. You can see investigators were digging behind this home, and it appears a back patio was dug up, and agents were going down a ladder to look for evidence. Rogers went missing in 2015. According to the documents we obtained, Hauk's brother, Nicholas Hauk, previously owned this property, and records show it was sold in 2018. Nick Hauk was a former Bardstown police officer, but was fired months after Rogers' disappearance for interfering with the criminal investigation. However, he's not charged in connection to the case. Brooks Hauk was charged with murder last year, and since Rogers' disappearance, there have been several massive searches of properties in the county, including last December. Officials searched a property very close to this one on Thompson Hill Road. This is the last search we know of since then. And to our knowledge, this is the first time this particular property has been searched. And again, we've been seeing cars coming in and out of this area all day long. We'll continue to bring you the very latest, both online and on air. Reporting in Nelson County, Madison Elliott, WLKY News.
To the young mother. All afternoon, investigators have been searching this property right here. This is in Cox's Creek, Kentucky. You see as the drone hovers over the house there, and you see the FBI's blue tents set up, some of their investigation underway. They got a tip related to the Crystal Rogers investigation and then swooped in. The property is located just south of Mount Washington near the Nelson and Bullitt County line. Nelson County real estate records show that this property has ties to the Houck family. And this is at least the second day of the search. Of course, as you know by now, Brooks Houck is called the chief suspect in her disappearance. WHAS 11's Shay McAllister has been in Nelson County since learning about the FBI search. And Shay, I know you've been away from it a little bit, but as you pointed out, this may be one of those searches where we don't learn what kind of evidence they find until this trial begins later.
Absolutely, Doug. That's always a big question. What are they finding when they're searching? What are the pieces of evidence that they're collecting? Oftentimes, we don't have those answers. What's different today, just in the last hour, Nelson County Sheriff Raymond Penarroa told us clearly they are searching for Crystal Rogers' body, and they haven't found it yet. Back on the search for clues in the Crystal Rogers case, dozens of FBI investigators hounding a property in Nelson County, the sheriff's office working with them.
We're here with the FBI conducting a investigation in connection with the Crystal Rogers case. They've been here since yesterday, and we'll be here through tomorrow.
From the Sky 11 drone, you can see investigators focused on two properties on rural Whitesides Road in Nelson County. If the road name sounds familiar, that's because it is. Anna Whitesides is the grandma to Brooks and Nick Houck. She owned this land in 2017, according to property records. Whitesides, who has since died, has been named in this case before. Police telling us in 2016, her car may have been used to dispose of a body. Back then, she invoked her Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination and refused to testify in front of a grand jury. FBI says it was tips that led them to the property this week in what is a multi-day search. No more questions on what they're looking for. Sheriff Raymond Penarroa putting it simply.
This is still an ongoing. We have not found a body, and it's what we're here to do.
On scene, the FBI evidence truck is serving as a home base as investigators come and go from the house, working around it as well, digging in multiple spots on this land using heavy machinery. A different family unrelated to the Houcks owns the property now, but it's not the first time this land has been searched. The Ballard family says they searched this land with cadaver dogs years ago, with reason to believe a missing part of the case may be traced back here. And Doug, we do know the Ballard family has been on property or near property today, seeing what they could see. Also today, I've been noticing butterflies everywhere. Currently a reminder of Sherry Ballard, who always says when she sees a butterfly, she believes Crystal is near. Doug?
Oh, wow. Butterfly. Oh man, that just gave me chills because this is Shay McAllister, who I was speaking of a few minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so Tommy was able to take a search dog team out to that property before. That man, when I watched a documentary, an investigator said that Tommy had files. Like, he wasn't playing. He was going to find the man who was responsible for his daughter's disappearance. And I think it was, yes, it was that father's instinct and love, right?
Right.
You gotta know, you gotta find them eventually. I could not imagine that, not knowing
Right.
ever where my child was. But when Tommy was a young man, Tommy's sister, I forgot what year, if it was years ago. I don't even believe Crystal was born yet. Tommy's sister went missing.
Oh wow.
Yes, and she was married. Um, she was found, I think, 2, 3 days later, and she was murdered.
Oh my
Her husband had
goodness.
been responsible. So his family had already been through a missing
Right.
persons, right? And then the result was death. So interestingly enough, Brooks found out about that story. Well, he's dating the Tommy's daughter. Of course, it probably will
Mhm.
come up in a conversation somewhere. And
Right.
Sherry remembered a conversation where Brooks brought that up. It was before Crystal disappeared. And she said she didn't think much of it at first because it's a known thing. But looking
Mhm.
back, she realized, what was he did that give him an idea? Do you know what I
Right.
mean? I don't know.
Mhm.
That was the strange element to the story, um, with this whole thing. So with that, something has led them, and remember, they're all in jail. And we got Steve, that's the father. I should have had the pictures from the video ready to go on this device to show you guys this device. I'm on the damn computer. All my
Oh,
images are on my phone because it's my mini computer, and it
right.
does everything for me. I'm trying to get better and used to doing it from the PC. Otherwise, it's getting done on my phone. Even my videos,
So
I
I
gotta
can
send them.
tell you that the Samsung does have what's called on deck, where you can use it, and it can. I believe it's supposed to be able to
Yeah, I can link.
transfer easily from phone to computer and the same information.
Yeah, I can link.
Okay.
I can link my phone up and all of that mess, but I'm not
Yeah.
really do that on a live stream. But I
Right.
do. Let me pull something. I do have something I can show you guys. Um, so anyway, with that, so what I was getting to, because I'll get sidetracked.
Sorry.
Steve Larson, they have been talking to the authorities, and
Mhm.
sorry, I was just checking up on chat real quick. I don't like to. I want to. Y'all know if y'all have any questions or concerns or anything you want to say about the case, drop a question and I'll try to make sure I read them and answer them if we can get them answered. Yeah, danger. And they've searched quite a few homes, like I've said, different property, like digging up the yards and the concrete driveways, because, like I said, they were doing construction. So, was she placed in an area ready to be laid for a driveway or back patio? Do you know what I mean? And that's
Mhm.
the kind of things they have been searching for. I have an article that has some pretty good images in it. Let me make
And
this
I'm
big.
sure that her father's antennas were already up because what had already happened to his sister.
Of course, right? Because you can't say never, and then the things you think never will happen to you has already happened to
Right.
you before, and now your
Mhm.
daughter is gone. There's no way, that's
Right.
even tenfold worse. It sucks to lose a sibling. My children went through that. I
Right.
haven't experienced that yet, right?
Yeah.
It's a different, a bond. It's a different relationship.
Right.
So it's rough on siblings to lose a sibling. So I'm sure when it happened to his daughter after happening to his sister, he's like, "No, I'm not having this." He was a very strong
Mhm.
man, and his father is still alive,
Right. Wow.
and he's a super strong man. Hey, Firefly, good to see you. Look, the gang's all here. Danger. We have man. We got to get back to true crime and guys because I've missed my team. Okay, let me get to some of these photos here to show you these dudes. And I think I've got the documents on. So this is like a timeline they put together here on this news site. WDRB.com is the source. And a lot of times they'll do this on these well, if they're a decent news site, they'll do it. I haven't done this for you guys, so we're going to just go look and see what they did real quick. So Crystal disappeared. The 4th of July weekend was the last time anyone saw her. And her car was found along the Bluegrass Parkway when her purse, phone, and keys were inside. Now, her brother, Crystal was a tall woman. She was a big lady, tall and everything. So her brother had stated when they found her car, because I think the family found the car. So when the car was found, it had a flat tire, and her purse, phone, and keys were inside. And they said Crystal had been known to drive that tire right off the rim to get to a safe place to stop. Most women will, raised in the South. Girl, you just drive that car. I don't care.
Right.
You
Right.
get somewhere else on them dark ass country roads. Go.
Exactly.
Okay, daddy. So Crystal would have done that. And secondly, her brother said if Crystal had driven that car and parked it on the Bluegrass Parkway, the seat wouldn't have been found in the position it was found. Hey, Steven's
Oh, wow.
Adventure. If I didn't say hey yet, I'm trying to keep up with chat. Um, so Crystal was known to slide her seat back and lean back a little bit because she was a tall woman. Give herself space, I guess. My ex-husband was tall and like that, and he needed all the space he could get. So anyway, it wasn't
Yeah.
like that when they found the car. It was pulled up and the back, sitting upright. So like a different person had driven the car.
Right.
And her brother knew that immediately. And at some point, they ended up giving the car to the family. Like they processed it, I guess, and did their thing to it. And then at some point, it was released back to the family. Well, Tommy was like, "What? Okay." So he rents, or he builds a storage unit on his property, or anyway, he preserved that car.
Wow.
And then he had it analyzed and things like that. So he did so much.
Mhm.
So then you got July 4th is when the investigation begins. Um, because the last person to see her was Brooks. And we have a phone call. Remember, he calls Steve Larson at one point from his phone to
Mhm.
verify, didn't I talk to you last night? And it was, what time did you call me? And Crystal was, yeah, it was late. And Crystal didn't want to answer no work questions, building his alibi,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So that's going to be important. There's going to be some really important note taking things coming up when we start presenting this case in full for you guys. I'm just trying to give
Mhm.
you a quick backstory here. So then you go to September of 2015. That's when Nick Houck, the police officer brother, was fired. And Nick was the Bardstown police officer and Brooks' brother. He was fired for interfering with an ongoing investigation into Roger's disappearance. So then you jump to October 15th. Can you guys see that okay? If you can't, I'm sorry. I'm presenting it from this
Yeah,
news.
I can see
Okay,
it.
good. So October 2015, she's presumed dead. In 2015, 3 months after Rogers disappeared, she was presumed dead by law enforcement. A year later, August 2016, Brooks Houck's farm was searched. The Nelson County Sheriff's Office, Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, Louisville Metro Police Department searched 3,000 acres with at least 14 cadaver dogs. 300 acres and 14 cadaver dogs. Dang. Snow said a crime involving Rogers is believed to have appeared at the farm. Try to find the search warrant return on that. Some of this stuff was sealed. Some of it I'm realizing is coming unsealed. So I'm going to try to find the documents we're going to want to look at. But Crystal wasn't found. That's the most important part. In November 2016, November 19th, 2016, Tommy Ballard was killed. Tommy Ballard, Roger's father, was shot in the chest. I thought he was shot in the head, so I'm sorry, guys. Correct. We'll verify all this. Was shot in the chest and killed right as he was about to go hunting on family property. The FBI eventually calls his death a homicide. I've got the FBI website for Tommy and Crystal's cases that they have on there and all the information pertaining to the case that the FBI has. Um, I have all that saved because I go back and look at it from time to time. Skipped ahead. So, sorry. Tommy was killed there in 2016. Then in April of 2019, Brooks was acquitted on theft charges after being arrested for stealing more than 200 bundles of roofing shingles from Lowe's. Damn, dude.
Wow.
Brooks
Really?
was found not guilty. Oh, I knew that he had that charge, but okay, I got something to review. The trial was held in Bowling Green because Houck's attorney argued they would get an impartial jury in Nelson County. Are you kidding me? Look at that. An impartial jury over some 200 bundles of roofing shingles.
Mm,
So the trial was held in Bowling Green because I guess they granted that motion over some roofing shingles, and then he was found not guilty. That's super interesting, and that was way back in 2019 before the
yeah.
world was on to your wicked ways over there in the
Yep.
don't trust your soul to no backwoods southern lawyer. And I'm from the South, and I ain't throwing no shade. I'm just being for real. It happens in big cities too, and
Yeah.
I can prove that. We'll have a show about corruption one night and point out
Mm,
how it happens in large and tiny towns. But I'm gonna
yeah.
make fun of these tiny towns because man, y'all do it to yourselves, not me. Okay, August 2020. Sorry, I got a cough again. Getting over this crazy virus. Okay, in August of 2020, FBI takes over massive Nelson County search. Um, hey, convicts thoughts, how are you? Let me see. Randy Potter, how are you? Thanks for coming in, everyone. Coming over to check out some new information in the Crystal Rogers case. It's a crazy case, and I hope they find her. Okay,
So
August
how?
20.
So sorry, I
Sorry,
have
go ahead.
one question.
No, go
So
ahead.
how did the FBI end up picking up the case? Because you
Uh,
know they have to be asked in usually.
yeah, and I think we're going to see that in just a minute. I'm not
Okay.
exactly sure when. I think they came in like a long time ago and did,
Hmm.
there was things they did, but so here you got 2020, they're already looking into things, right? The FBI took
Right.
the lead. Oh, here we go. Look at you go, butterfly. FBI takes over. Okay. The FBI took over. The FBI took the lead in the Rogers case, dispatching 150 state and federal law officers to execute 9 federal search warrants. Dang, boys wasn't playing. They searched Brooke Houck's home, and members of the IRS left with dozens of boxes, 2 filing cabinets, and much more. Mm. Do we
Hmm.
get an article if we click on this? What do we get? We do. Well, we get a summary that just tells us the same thing we just read, but okay, cool. Thank you anyway. That's a little, I like the
First, right here at 5 o'clock.
I like the way they laid that out. Let's go back to that. So anyway, was it this one? Yeah. Sorry, guys. Um, well, I thought it was this one. Get that out of my. What's the guys that we're talking about? The one in the middle, that is Brooks. To the left is Steve Larson. Far right is his son, Joseph. Now, Joseph is confined to a wheelchair. There was an accident he was involved in. That'll come up. Okay. So where did we leave off, Butterfly? The FBI
Hmm.
came in. Oops.
Yes.
Damn it. Damn it, man. Go back. Get out of here. All right. Sorry, guys. User malfunction. Okay. They took over in 2020 and sent out the 150 agents. Okay. In August of 2021, FBI searches Bardstown neighborhood after a 7-day search. FBI agents said multiple items had been uncovered. The items were sent to the FBI lab in Quantico, Virginia for forensic analysis. Ooh, I'd love to be in that place and do that. Let me analyze that evidence, please. That's awesome. I wonder what they found that was of interest.
Right.
Okay, that they enough to send to the lab. Okay, so then you go to September 27th of 2023. Brooks was arrested. He was charged with complicity to murder and tampering with physical evidence. Houck was escorted into the Nelson County Jail in handcuffs, and his bond was set at $10 million. Then you go to December 8th of 2023. Steve Lawson, who talked with Brooks by phone the night after Crystal disappeared, remember we saw that phone call, guys, has been indicted on charges of criminal conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with physical evidence in the Rogers case. Now, it is believed his son, Joseph Larson over here, who was arrested, did I skip him, in 2023. So Joseph was arrested was 32 of Nelson County, charged with criminal conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with physical evidence in the Crystal's disappearance. It is believed he's the one who drove the car out to the Bluegrass Parkway and parked it. Like her brother said, she never drove that car out there. And so Steve is the one doing the talking. Now they have held hearings to sever the cases because they were tied together. Kind of like in the beginning, Vallow and Daybells were together, but they were able to separate the two cases and try them separately because that's what the defendant wanted. So that's what this guy has wanted, and Brooks has wanted. Like, we're doing this shit separate. So now Steve also claims he was offered a deal, and then he didn't get what he was offered, and they're like, well, where's your proof, kind of thing. We're going that'll come up as well. So what all has he been saying? What have they been able to learn from that? And to get to these search warrants we're seeing right now for these new properties. Okay, so go today, or I'm sorry, September 2024, FBI searches properties once owned by the family, and we just reviewed that. So yeah, that's the update on the Crystal Rogers case. Let me see. Yeah, right. That what his claim was, they were feeding the animals to the freaking cows or the horses, whatever it was. Yeah, nobody, that didn't happen. We're going to get into what his little story was all about because it was a story. And it's interesting to see the things he's tried, that the family alone, why would you go and record yourself into the grand jury? Why would grandma used to testify? If you
And
got
plead the fifth.
right, and plead the fifth. If you got nothing to hide about your grandbaby, I'm going to march right in there and I'm going to tell you about your business right now. You got the wrong guy.
Yeah.
I'm his alibi. I was cooking my baby some cornbread. What the hell? But no, I'm not even coming to testify. You ain't getting me. Like, okay, lady. Yeah, 200 bundles of roofing shingles. It was probably one of the mistakes. The camera sees him loading it and drive away, but he forgot he didn't pay. My bad. Was it that? I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna find out why. Why was that? Why would we look how much coverage, rightfully so, arguably so, the Koberger case has received just on the motion of change of venue because of everything involved, the death penalty, the salacial, all the things that we all know with a level head, something needs to happen. If you're not going to move the trial to Boise, you absolutely need to bring in a jury from Boise, right? And if we want to be fair to all parties involved, bring the jury in. You're going to pay them for their time. Maybe y'all should bump up the pay for that jury's time because they got a tough job ahead of them. Make it easy for everybody. So why move a damn 200 bundle roof and shingle case? I don't get it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm catching up on the chat again. Yeah, I started the channel up a while back, and I usually just went into chats as a community member. I've got a whole TikTok world out there that just puts out like news clips and court docs. Been going to other panels and talking true crime, and I did start doing lives myself. So I don't even know how many I've done. It's not a whole bunch, but thank you for coming in. I hope you enjoy what you're hearing, and we hope you come back. We're doing updates on a case involving Crystal Rogers, but we just covered it. So if you guys want to hear a recap on that, you can catch it on the replay, and I'll try to remember to add it to the playlist. I got to get so much better at that. There is a Delphi update I wanted to talk about, or something we can review.
Did you hear me talking?
Yeah, I can now. Did you
Okay.
guys? Okay, was I gone for a
Kimber's
minute?
back. No, I said, did you hear me? I said Kimber's backstage.
Okay, cool. Let me bring Kimber up. Hello, Miss Kimber.
Hello, hello. It worked today. I didn't fall down
Kimber.
3 times. Hi, guys.
Knock
We
three.
got you, Kimber. We got you.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on to me. Hi, guys.
Hey, good, because with you two up here, I can talk less. Maybe my voice is starting to act up, but what I do need is a fresh cup of coffee and a walk out the back door for a minute. So I'm going to put something up to review real quick. We're going to go over Delphi. Hang on just a second. Thank you, Siggy. I appreciate that. I'm trying to just build, a true crime channel. I love talking about true crime. I've been doing it for sometimes you forget until you think about how old your children are. And then you realize, oh crap, it's been a long time since anything, right? 40 plus years. I've been talking true crime and watching true crime and consuming true crime and all the things like most of you have that are here for
Right.
true crime. You're drawn to. You probably have all, like me, seen FBI files, and you've seen, what was the hell, forensic files, right?
Yes, yes.
Forensic
Falling
files.
asleep to that.
Right. Every single night of your life, you're falling asleep when some babies are down. Your house is good. Your animals is good. I'm gonna go watch this forensic files and get some. And going, damn, people do that. They can get that kind of evidence. Dang. It was so interesting. So that's what I love to do. And as we cover cases and talk about particular types of evidence in those cases, we're going to be reviewing educational stuff on that type of stuff as we move through the case. That's kind of like, I think it's important to understand, what's happening and what we can learn from it. So anyway, let me.
Salty, hold on
Yes.
before you leave. Did you see Siggy's message? He sent you an email. He forwarded the email addressed to his sister. She'll be getting back to you. Her email starts with Shanecki, 1968.
Okay. I'll check. It's just I got a couple. Let me pull that one up. Oh, it is. Okay. So Siggy, you emailed me, and then I'll go from there with it, right? Because right now I don't see a current email from you.
He said he forwarded it to his sister.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Totally cool. No pressure there. Honestly, tell your sister that. This is not like that. I don't like, I've never reached out to anybody in a case. What Siggy's referring to, the person, his sister, is not involved with the case. They just happen to live in the area and rented a home from this suspect. That's, all I know. So if she wants to reach out and talk to me, then I'll have a conversation and I'll take it from there. You got to be careful in these, you know what I mean? This is to protect Siggy and sister, right? not
Mm-hmm.
not anything else but that. So yeah, but I appreciate you.
Exactly.
I really, really do, because it's important to, not like to get stuff out there about this dude. For people to know Crystal's story and who she was.
Right.
This lady had 5 children, 4 previous marriage by the same man, and she loved all 4 of those kids, and then her baby with Brooks that she loved dearly. That Sherry has had to fight this family of the whole. It's a whole thing. So
Right.
um, yeah. Thank you, Siggy. So let me pull up this Delphi update, guys. We're gonna be all just hoping that with these new searches they can recover Crystal finally, because Sherry
Mm-hmm.
and those kids deserve to put her next to her father and let her rest at peace, so they can
Right.
go have their peace. You
Yes,
know,
they do.
right? Amen.
Yep.
So.
Mm-hmm.
So, a quick backstory, real quick. There was a 3-day hearing recently. Um, and a lot is done and said we didn't get to see or hear because we don't get cameras, we don't get audio. So we relied on people's notes that were there, good people, smart people, articulate people. But everybody's takes is slightly different and people hear things differently. Joe attended the last day of the hearing, came back and gave us a good update that final day. They all have done the very best of their ability to get the information out there correctly. Finally, those transcripts have been released. I'm going to refer you right now, if you are interested in those 3 days worth. I think it's going on right now, and I'm late to the party, but I'm going to go be on the replay crew. Criminality. Kimber, can you drop her link? I don't even know if you, let me see. If you guys don't know, let me pull it up on my phone here real quick, and I'm going to tell you. But anyway, they have the documents. It took a lot to get these transcripts. It was very costly, like a lot of money, thousands of dollars to get these. And finally, people were able to obtain them. The attorneys tried to, file their legal document to get their copies. And then another set of people also filed FOIA requests and got the documents. So here we are. But over at Criminality, she and Sleuthy had this brilliant idea a while back in a Twitter space. She's like, man, I wish we had transcripts of yet another hearing. And she's like, I wish we had people that could play the parts, like Judge Gull, saying this, and then the defense saying this, like each person's different. We're like, okay, well, damn it, Sleuthy's done it. So anyway, with that said, over at Criminality, let's see, they are doing this read through of the motions hearings. It's going to take them a few days, I think she said, because of it's so long. I'm looking at chat again, and I'm sorry, right? I'm doing 2 things at one time. I need to stop that because it's not going to work. But anyway, they're going to be doing a read through of the damn documents. Let me spit it out. And they have somebody different portraying each person. So it's going to be a whole different way to follow it. You know what I mean? And get it read to you at the same time, so you don't got to sit there and read all however many pages are there, because it's a lot of pages. So the defense wanted to bring in, okay, the defense wanted to bring in a third party argument, if you'll remember, which is the Odinism angle. People that were investigated, looked into, cleared, evidence pertaining to all that was lost, deleted, all that stuff. But the judges denied that they can come in and talk about any of that. Like, they can't talk about it at all. You can't say certain names that were looked into. You can't talk about this particular thing, this, all the things. So I'm going to play a little piece from Court TV real quick while I go grab the coffee. Now, I've been prone to have a swamp signal occasionally, but there's literally nobody home but me. Nobody's on the internet. So we should be okay. So if you guys don't mind getting an update on this, I'll play this real quick. Is that a
Saucy, whose link do
channel?
you want me to drop?
Oh, I'm sorry. Criminality. Teresa, shit. What's it called? Oh, let me go to, I know right where it's at. Joe, I think you may know the name of her channel right at the top of your head. Maybe. Let me go look at my history here, because I just watched part of it today. Or, no, I watched her live. I watched her live last night. No, I got it right here. Let me pull this up instead. I just didn't want to. I don't like to leave the chat hanging. Guys, hold on 1 second. Let me pull something up real quick so I can get the proper name to her channel. There it is. It's okay. Criminality, and her CRIMINALITY, and then let me get her at for you. Oh, she's live. They're doing a read through right now. I'm going to head over there after this, at Criminality TC. So at Criminality TC.
Okay. Okay, let me drop down so I can get that, and I'll post it in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
thank you so
welcome.
much. Yes, Joe's a sub over there as well. She does good work. I enjoy listening to her. I listened to her last live, so I knew they were going to be doing this starting tonight. So we're only going to look at this Delphi update, and then we're going to wrap it up after that, because I do need to rest my voice and all the things, and get this. And then we can go over there and listen to the read through. So I think it's going to be fun with the different players they have up there doing the different acts of these players in court. Okay, here we go, guys. Let me know in the chat if you can hear everything okay and see everything okay.
Following some new developments out of Indiana, the Delphi murder case, an Indiana judge, Judge Gull, has ruled that at his upcoming trial. This was under contention. Defense wanted to bring in these other theories.
Yeah, Odinism being one of them. Allen is charged with 2 counts of murder for the deaths of Libby German and Abigail Williams. Their bodies were found on February 14th of 2017. And we have someone here who can discuss that a lot more.
Yes, our senior producer, Barbara McDonald, she knows this case quite well and is noted from the beginning. Let's start with this latest ruling from Judge Gull, which seems to sort of fall in place with other rulings she has made. Defense pretty much striking out across the board when it comes to Judge Gull.
That's right. And basically there was a 3-day hearing in July and the first part of August that went over this and gave the defense an opportunity to come to court and provide evidence that there was actually admissible evidence related to these third-party culprits that they wanted to point at. And the judge said after that hearing that she was not satisfied that they had done that they had not presented anything that was admissible in court, showing that these people were at the scene or were not where they were supposed to be at the time. And so the judge is saying, no, you're not going to be able to bring any of this in. But the state's motion in limine was asking for a whole lot more than just limiting this third-party defense. And so some of the other things that the judge has said is not going to be allowed is any reference to even the investigator who looked into the Odinism theory. You know, that was a route that investigators had followed in the early days of the investigation. They said they didn't find anything that led them to believe that that was actually what was involved here, and so they stopped pursuing it. But those materials are what the defense has seized on, and they're not even allowed to mention the detective who looked into this and wrote that initial report about Odinism. His name is Todd Click. He is now retired, and his name isn't going to come in either. There's also not going to be any reference to the geofencing data, which the defense has indicated in filings shows that there were other phones walking around the crime scene during the time that the girls were missing and their bodies hadn't yet been discovered. And so the judge is saying that also is not going to come into this trial. The other thing that I think is rather interesting is the state asked to prohibit any reference, and this is a quote from his filing, from Nick McClelland's filing, any reference to any prior bad acts or acts of any witnesses that plan to testify. And so it's going to be really interesting. There are obviously a lot of people who follow this case who think that this judge is biased against the defense and the defendant, Richard Allen, who you see there on your screen. He has been subjected to some very harsh treatment during his incarceration after his arrest. He is now out of the maximum security prison system and is in a county jail awaiting trial, which is supposed to happen next month. But Julia, I've heard you talk about this quite a bit, that these motions and these early decisions set everything up for the tone of the trial. And that's what's happening here. The judge in one motion is saying a lot of this stuff is not going to come in.
It certainly changes the landscape of what we are going to see at the trial. My question is, I know you've been watching all of these motions and pouring through them as they've come in. We've watched this case shift and change, but what's left? If the geofencing is out, if the third-party culprit defense is out for these defense attorneys, what do you think is going to be their angle at trial?
It's going to be tough. You know, there are a lot of attorneys discussing this case on social media who are commenting that this definitely sets this case up for an appeal. One even worded it that this ruling basically makes this first trial a practice run, which I know nobody involved in this case wants to see happen. The families of these poor girls, they've been waiting 7 years for justice. The arrest of Richard Allen came almost 5 years into this investigation. They are in all of this. So it's going to be really interesting. But, you know, Richard Allen's own words place him at the trails the day the girls went missing, around the time that they were missing. We don't know if there's any phone data, since it was 5 years later that he was arrested, that might show where exactly he was during those times. But right now, it sounds like it's going to be his word against what the state has to offer.
And there's no Ron Logan, no Anthony Schatz,
no Ron Logan, no Anthony Schatz. Anthony Schatz was somebody that law enforcement asked people to help them with information on. He was catfishing girls in Indiana, asking for nude images. He has since been charged and sentenced to 43 years, unrelated to anything having to do with Abby and Libby.
in communication with the girls, right?
He definitely was in communication with at least Libby. And then Ron Logan was the man who owned the property where the girls were found, and he lied about where he was at the time they went missing. He was charged with probation violations. He spent a year behind bars and a year on house arrest. But, you know, these are people that law enforcement has never come out and said for sure that they are cleared. With Ron Logan, with Kegan Kline, they did say they could never place him in Delphi, but Ron Logan lied about where he was, and we still don't know exactly where he was at the time the girls were being killed, and that's another issue for the trial. Law enforcement has been unable to come up with a time of death, so it leaves a lot of questions about exactly who was where when, and when that crucial time period actually was.
And before I let you go, remind us the trial date is
October 14th through November 15th. It'll start with jury selection in Allen County, which is Fort Wayne, Indiana, and then the rest of it will be in Carroll County where the crime happened.
All right, Barbara will be there covering for us, Court TV.
Barbara.
Thank you, Barbara McDonald. Let's bring back in Tad Thomas. Tad, your thoughts on this case and specifically this latest setback for the defense. Now, we should remind people that the defendant, Richard Allen, reportedly confessed multiple times to multiple people. There is some there for the state's case.
You know, that's right. But this is a devastating blow, really, for the defense, isn't it? And what people need to know is that the judges have discretion to keep out irrelevant evidence. It's not that the defense just gets to come in and throw anything they want at.
Hey, sorry guys, I was standing on the back porch responding in chat on my phone. I wanted to just say, Joe, I can't wait to get the transcripts. If I can get my hands on them, I'm getting them. I'm gonna put a bug in someone's ear after all this reading is done. Anyway, if you can get them, that'd be great. But I'd love to review them with you and talk about them and how it pertains to the case because I can't wait to look at them for myself. That's always
I think he
super
said he
important.
did get them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he says he got all the transcripts yesterday.
That's
315
awesome.
pages.
I heard it was like 300 pages, so that's a lot. And I don't know how the commentary will go over there at Criminal. There's some pretty interesting actors playing the roles of these different people involved. So it's probably, we'll see how that goes. It's probably comical, but I want to read them myself and put it in the right context and jokes. So I do agree with that. And my hearing just went weird. My ears are doing weird things. But so I'm gonna let's play it now. So they can't bring in any of the geofencing. Why would you? Well, they're saying because it doesn't pertain, right? The people y'all want to talk about are cleared. Therefore, anything that pertained to them, because apparently within these geofencing areas, phones tied to those people can be located in that fencing area. But in Richard Allen's, we have not heard that from the prosecution or the defense. Richard Allen's phone, well, I'm assuming it's not there because the defense has fought hard to get that geofencing in there, right? So if your client's phone is caught in that geofence warrant, you got some really good grounds to get it thrown out because right now, geofencing warrants just went illegal. And I need to pull up the documentation on that. I think I might have it because I wanted to go over that. Actually changed the way they started storing your data because of geofencing warrants because they were so broad, right? And you could literally capture all the phones and you could just put in your perimeter and capture all the phones in that area. And then you could look into all the individuals within that area that you captured. And then now you're looking into individuals without an individual warrant for that person. But that don't matter because you got them on that geofence, and we got to see if they're involved in this whatever happened over here. So there's
Well,
a whole.
not to, sorry,
Go
not
ahead.
to sidetrack you, but Siggy's sisters in the chat, Friedel.
Awesome. Who is? Let me scroll through chat real quick, guys.
It's towards the bottom.
Hi Heather, how are you? It's good to see you. Let me scroll up a minute to see if anybody's come in today. Shally, good to see you. Rodney. All right, so I'm gonna go back down and right here. Kentucky has limited resources.
Yeah, further back up. Yeah, that's who she is.
Okay, I do not want to mispronounce her name.
Yeah.
Friedel.
Right.
I don't want to do that. Friedel. I'm not sure which way to pronounce it. Do you have any idea, Butterfly?
No.
Friedel.
I was gonna say Friedel, but I could be wrong.
I'm gonna go with Friedel. I like Friedel.
Yeah.
Well, glad to see you. Welcome in. We were covering Crystal's case in the beginning and giving an update about that. So if you want to go catch that on the replay, please do. Guys, I don't always forget to say this. If you will, give the video a thumbs up and all those things. You're subscribe and turn on the bell and all the stuff. Apparently YouTube does like it.
Yeah. Like and share with your friends.
Yeah, I've had some recent videos do pretty well, and I would like to see my true crime lives and the videos I'm about to be getting back to doing my true crime videos, I've got some interesting ones coming up with my Delphi content and with Stefan Stearns, my favorite new psychopath to look into.
Mm-hmm.
You buddy.
Yeah.
I'm going to get sidetracked on my rant about him because I'm about to tell his BDS out.
Yeah. The monster.
Monster eyes. Okay, let's go back over here because what's happening in Delphi is really scary to me, because I can honestly sit here and tell you I don't know if this Richard Allen did anything. I don't know. Could he be that guy on that video on that bridge? Yes,
Mm-hmm.
but so could that other suspect, because in my opinion they both have that same build, and you're on a loop video, so I can't see them really walking to gauge a gait or any of that stuff. But from a physical appearance on your grainy thing, they both could be. I've proven it when they're side by side. I've asked people I know personally. Well, they don't even do true crime. They don't got a clue who they're looking at. I'm like, hey, yeah, I've done it with the sketch. I put
Oh
both
yeah, those two sketches. Yeah.
both guys. I've done things right. Like, hey,
Right.
what do you think about this? Oh no, 9 times out of 10 they point to the other suspect. It's the possible guy they think's in that picture on that bridge. I'm like, oh, interesting.
But they're supposed to merge, remember?
Yeah, well, young guy and
Or
old
morph
guy.
into one.
They've never produced the drawing of what that merged together version looks like.
Right.
But I've got a picture of young Richard Allen side by side. I need to get it onto the PC so I can present it to you guys, because it's interesting to me, because when I decided to do it, I stumbled upon a young Richard Allen photo.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, damn. So I went and did my thing, and I got 2 Richard Allens, then and young bridge guy.
Hmm.
And then
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie. Could it be both? Yes. In my opinion. That's why I need to, let me make a note right now. Hold on. I want y'all's opinion. Like, I really do.
Yeah, I would like to see that.
Yeah, it's really, really, yeah. I don't think I've sent it to this computer yet, so I got to get on that tonight. I'll be up for a while. My kiddo's at work, I think, till about 10, and he's got that one stretch home, and that's it. But it's a long, dark one, but he gets there safely. He did quite well going in, so he'll be fine coming home. Now I can go to bed. All right, so let's get back to this. Sorry, guys, I got sidetracked. I'm so sorry.
A wall, the judge has the right to narrow the proof to something that is a legitimate defense. Now, I agree wholeheartedly that, hey, this case is going up on appeal. This type of a major ruling is certainly something that's going to go up if there's a conviction, whether there's confessions or not. But the judge has a right to narrow the evidence that's coming in, and the prosecution shouldn't have to, fight ghosts and prove or try to disprove something that has no basis in fact. So it's a really interesting ruling by the judge. Definitely going up on appeal, but judges they really try to walk the line and allow the defense to have some leeway so that these convictions actually will be upheld.
Yeah, so she's keeping out the references to this cult, alleged cult, Odinism, that's been coming up in some of these motions by the defense. But the geofencing, we've seen lots of cases where the defense is able to show, hey, there were other people there, other people had access. That doesn't seem like it would be, according to this motion, something that would confuse the jury or mislead them on the facts. What's your thought on that versus some of the other things that the defense wanted to go after?
Right. On the other potential defendants, potential murderers, where there's evidence that they weren't there and there's just nothing that connects them to the scene. I understand the court keeping that out, but you're exactly right. Having the geo-tracking data and not having other answers for that, maybe the prosecution's already looked at that and the investigators have looked at what other phones are there and they've tracked all of those people down and, come up with some reason why those individuals. Exactly right. That's objective data. It's not like it's opinion.
Okay, you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
So let me go back to the comment. Rodney. Yes. So it appears to me as he's walking down the bridge, I don't think he has no idea that he's being videoed, whoever that person is, and walking on the bridge. Whether they were following the girls or just walking, it appears they were following the girls. I don't know for sure. So I don't think that person realized they were being recorded. And then when we hear the sound guys down the hill, I think at that point that phone was in her pocket. Therefore, all you get's the audio. And I don't think they realized it was in the pocket. At some point, they realized she had a phone because Joe is correct. Let me get his comment here. Her phone was found. The phone was found underneath one of the girls' bodies, presumably intentionally placed there. It was inside of the shoe, and I believe it was Abby, if I'm not mistaken. I'll find out for 100%. Because Joe and I did a couple of shows on Delphi, and mine is up. I think he has the show up. It was like our introduction. I believe it's that one into the case. So we have some things we have covered, but we still got to deep dive a few more. But yeah, so it was in a shoe under her body. So at some point, someone did realize there was a phone, and it was just left there. Did they realize there was a video and audio recording of someone? I don't even know if they even look at it. Who knows? There's a lot of debate about that phone that Libby had in court documents. There was extractions done, but Joe, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of times as technology progressed. They found out very early on, that Libby was communicating with the Anthony Shots profile, who turned out to be Keegan Klein, the guy in the basement, who's now sitting there doing 45 years on CSAM.
Yeah, that creepy guy.
Image sharing. He was image sharing on the internet and all the things. But he was also befriending young girls by going in with a fake account, Anthony Shots, using a young, hot guy and befriending these girls and talking to them. And then once he gets to know them and they DMs, they are comfortable enough to send a photo. There's your pedophile in the basement. And that's what he was doing. So he was cleared. Joe and I covered where there was a huge search of the Wabash River concerning things that Keegan Klein told authorities about the murders in Delphi. But he was cleared. Nothing was found of evidentiary value in the river. So there's a whole thing. We can do another show and give out a good recap for you guys about the case. But the main takeaway for today on Delphi is they're not going to allow anything, and that's the usual for Judge Gull. And I don't say that about judges. I don't go after judges. There was a lot of questions in that Karen Reed case. Like, that shit was bizarre from the get-go because all those cops were involved. I was like, ew, I don't even like the way that feels, and so
Right.
I watched from afar, didn't cover it myself, but
Yeah.
then I don't know. There's just a lot with this case that was already heavy to unpack. You know what I mean? And then
Right.
they can't even, and the fact that the judge just hasn't allowed so much. It's not even about the Odenism to me, because what's going to damn well matter in the end is that evidence you present to me in court. I'm that
Right.
juror. You got to prove to me that bullet, that unspent round that you have, came from his pistol 5 years later when you found him. Then I need you to explain to me how your Officer Doolin typed in the wrong last name to Richard Allen White, whatever the last, what he typed in White, I forget what it was, White Sand White, I don't want to mispronounce it. White something was the street Richard Allen lived on or whatever, or once lived on. And anyway, he put that down as the last name of the person he talked to, apparently. So then they filed that away in the tip files. I was there, here's what time I was there, and here's what I was wearing. Bridge guy describing himself being there, walking on the bridge. That's pretty important. So even if you did put your name down wrong, and then y'all filed it away wrong, took you 5 years to realize all that was done wrong, and then when you figured it out, you're like, oh well, shit, he looks like that bridge guy. But didn't Dan recall talking to the people he interviewed concerning that case in the first 24, 48 hours? Did he not recall a man that he met with told him, I was there wearing this? And then that video, the picture was out. It was there. He's like, he didn't go, dang, that guy that came and told me he was there looks just like this dude in this picture and on that video.
Well, he lived there in the community. It took 5 years. He was there the whole time.
Exactly, all of that. So somebody needs to answer to why your community went through pure hell. Families went through hell. Let me rephrase that. The victims and their families went through hell for 5 years. And the community also had to suffer for 5 years, to the point where some turned on each other and began to point fingers. Because y'all
But they didn't recognize the guy working at
misplaced a
CVS.
tip. No, you misplaced a tip of a guy that told you he was there wearing the same thing your bridge grab was wearing. And now 5 years later, that bullet y'all found immediately, apparently, between the girls, just under the earth, came from his gun that you found in his house. And apparently that's all they have.
Right.
They think that they've alluded to, I believe that it's been suggested, I think, that he is seen on the Hoosier Harvester camera, his car, but there's a lot of debate about that. The bloody, muddy guy walking, but the witness, did she say muddy and bloody or just bloody? There's a whole bunch of stuff. So we have to, it comes down to that evidence you got to present. Is that literally all you have? Is that bullet? If you got DNA as you suggest, and I need to put that video out, I need to make that my goal tonight to get that thing done. Because I don't know. I'm pretty sure you got DNA. I'd love everyone else's opinion once they see it. And if you got DNA and you don't know whose it is, and you continue to say others were involved, at least 2 to 6, right, Joe? Whose DNA is that? If it's not Richard Allen's, that needs to be answered as well. I wonder, are we allowed to bring that up in court? Because damn, if you don't, that's, I mean, you're already just
setting it up for appeal if he is convicted.
Has that been her end game all along? I'm just gonna sit back and do this, and they're gonna ride, because maybe what she saw, she was like, "Holy cow! I'm gonna let somebody else deal with this. Y'all have it on appeal. You gonna win." Or I mean, I don't know. It's weird. Why would you deny every single thing ever asked? You only allowed. She's only allowed a few things to actually happen. She's only allowed a few hearings. And the hearings that she has allowed, she denied the motions. She fired the damn
Hasn't she
attorney.
already been scolded once from Supreme Court?
Supreme Court got her. I wanted to, I'm sorry. Let me get off my shit here. The phone was either turned off or disconnected from signal the 13th in the afternoon, and mysteriously turned back on at 4:33 on the 14th. Yes. that on the YouTube shows that cover it. Um, so her phone goes offline that afternoon, but it does mysteriously. We just learned through court documents it comes back on at 4:33. It turns back on and pings, and apparently 15 to 16 text messages came through, and that was the family member who were trying to reach her earlier in the night looking for her and couldn't because the phone wasn't receiving signal.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came back on, boom, 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 they all came. What's up with that? Did it
Right.
just
What's
now?
the explanation
I've
for
heard people explain that even if it's off, it's going to continue to try to reach out and shake a hand with the tower, all the things. And apparently that's what happened at 4:33 a.m. Something, I guess, the air, all the movement, everything went dead still for a minute. That phone was able to receive a quick signal long enough to get all those. Oh, okay, I need to hear the experts on that come in and testify to that now, because
Yeah,
someone
'cause
needs to
usually it
explain
has
that.
to be turned on
Explain
for
that
the
to
text messages to go through.
Well, yeah, and that's a good point because there's been talks about that. The phone can still do this and that when it's off. Really? Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. I hear Coworkers was off for 2 hours, and they're going to explain that. Apparently, Anne's going to, and I'm down to hear how she can. Right?
Right.
It will pertain to,
Mhm.
will help me understand other cases. So, yeah, I want to know from the experts, two of them's point of view, and I'll take everything they say with a grain of salt, and make
Right.
a conclusion if I was a juror. That's what you gotta
Mhm.
do. You need to hear, you don't need, and I think she even denied, or no, didn't Nick want to deny the defense the right to question a witness, expert witness he was gonna present forward, or I may have that a little bit backwards, but I think that was the case, and I was like, "What?" And mind you, I've been sick all week, so I'm in bed trying to consume what I can, and I think
Right.
that's what I read. There was something about one of the sides was like, I don't think it was I think it was the prosecution saying, "You can't even question my witness." Like, excuse me? I'm fixing to ask. I'm asking questions. That's
Right.
just who. That's just who I be. Should have been an attorney.
I think so. Investigative attorney.
Yeah, and let me just shout out to my friend Danger here. We were deep diving another case, and we deep dove the heck out of that case. Anyway, we had a lot of fun doing it. Delphi came, and I was like, "Hey, look at this." I was like, "There's an unnamed professor that allegedly, you know, is an Odinist expert, all the things, and they don't know who it is. The state don't know who it is. All of a sudden, they don't forgot his name, lost it. Danger found it for me within 24 hours. He gave me a list,
Wow.
actually, of 5. We narrowed it down because we knew where they taught. They told us where the person was taught. It wasn't. I. It. I'm not gonna say it wasn't hard to figure out because
Mhm.
he went to work and did his homework. That's all it took was some research. We found a list of possible professors, and we chose the one we thought was the most fitting.
Right.
And damn it, we didn't pick the right one, didn't we, Danger? So applause to you, buddy. We never said a word about it publicly. We were just like chilling out in the Discord, going, "Damn." And then it came out. That's exactly who it was. So that's why Danger is my favorite research partner. I could tell you a whole lot of the things we researched, and we'll get to them. Danger, I need you to come up on one of my Idaho shows so we can show that route from the alleged route taken out, from the murder scene back home to Pullman. That route, possible drop sites along the way. Yeah, we're gonna do that show one night if you don't mind. And Danger usually comes in late because of his schedule, and he lives in a completely different time zone than me. So we usually did our late night thing. But I'm so glad you're here. Kimber has
That's
to
great.
run. She has a few things to do. I'll catch up on the replay. Yeah, we're gonna be ending it. Like I said, I do want to go over and check out some of that documentation stuff on the Delphi case, and Joe, reach out later when you're not busy. We'll talk. Butterfly, I always appreciate you coming up. We're going to be
Thank you for
getting,
having me.
yeah, we'll have a little meeting about our Stearns coverage going forward, and we'll put together that show, and we'll get it
Okay.
out in a couple of days. Guys, I'll be busy tomorrow working and all the things, so it will not be tomorrow night. But anyway, what is tomorrow? What is today? Oh, good Lord.
Friday. Tomorrow's
For
Friday.
real? For real already?
Yeah, already.
Shit, I gotta go call my sister. Today's her birthday.
Oh,
Okay.
happy birthday to your sister.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, but I really appreciate all of you guys coming in and checking out the true crime. Thank you, Randy. I'm glad. Or is that my eyesight's horrible? Yeah, Randy. I'm gonna show you my screen.
Rondi
Rondi.
Potter.
Yeah, I got my screen smaller because I had 2 screens up, and I need to fix that. But anyway,
Thank you,
Chelsea, I
everyone.
appreciate you coming in. Everybody that came in, I appreciate each and every one of you. If you guys don't mind, hit the like button and all the stuff we're supposed to do. Apparently, it does matter because it has really seemed to help my last video a lot. And I would love my true crime content to get the same attention.
This was a great live.
Thank
Good
you.
tonight.
I love having you up. I love having Kimber. I love having Joe come up because we all have the same thing in mind, to bring the
Yeah.
content out there. And of course, we want justice for all the victims, but
Yeah.
justice for the defendants is as is important,
Right.
And Delphi is like a whole other level of weirdness I've never seen in a case. It's like next level, all from beginning to end. It's ugh.
Well,
But
so
you heard
far
them say,
creating reasonable doubt, that's for sure.
well, they
Just
did
because
that
of things
alone.
that she's, yeah,
Before the Frank's motion came
investigation.
out, yeah, before that Frank's motion ever came out, and it laid out everything as to why they thought it. It all made perfect sense, all of it. But you take all that away, like literally take it all off the table. You never heard of it. I still
Yeah.
had a lot of questions because I know when those girls went missing, and I know how long it took you to get to that dude that lived right there in town the entire time. And I know all the people you looked at prior to him, every single one of them. And I also know how the people over there in Bill and Peggy's case reached out to you, Delphi, because they had questions because their case had similar crime scene activity. And whoever did it over there spent quite a bit of time with Bill and Peggy. And it was ritual. And there was a specific item, and I have this video saved that we can review, and we didn't get to it one night. I forgot why. Probably because we started talking. But there was a specific item or specific reason. I believe it was an item used or an item they were looking at and wanted to know if it was also related to their case in Delphi. And that was long before. So what's going on here? And every person you've looked into, you've requested DNA from. Because you're still trying to find who has that DNA that you have that doesn't belong to Richard Allen. That's what it appears to be just from court documents alone.
Yeah. Joe commented.
Okay, excuse me, guys.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you, Joe. We'll get together and talk about that and maybe get our show together if you're interested. If you want to do it over there on yours, that's cool as well. We'll come over and be down and hang out for that. Let me know what's going on. Until then, guys, I'm going to go over and I'm going to go crawl in bed actually and go listen to the other stream that Criminality and them are doing over there and see what's going down. But I appreciate you guys coming in. Like I said, we're going to be coming up with another show this week on the Stearns case again. Joe and I'll get together hopefully about some every minute of that so far. So anyway, yes, it is all about justice for them. Abby and Libby
Definitely.
are the heart and soul of this, and we, heard some graphic things out of that 3-day hearing that happened in those woods and what Libby went through. We know what
Yeah.
was done to Abby, but Libby, you know, she didn't go down without a fight. She had an attitude. You're not taking me down like that easy.
Yeah.
And I think her phone. I think there will be things that show that, and maybe that's why we haven't heard the entire 43 seconds of that audio video they claim they have.
Right.
The court documents
Right.
say it's 43 seconds, so and the defense has stated that as well. So I'm assuming it is just a 43-second video audio. Was the video out, filming the guy? He gets closer, approaches, phone dips into the pocket. All we hear now is audio. Guys down the hill. What else do y'all hear? Apparently, there's a now allegedly. I've never heard it, Joe. I don't know if you've ever actually heard it either. I went to the FBI website. I believe it's still up there, where you can click and play that audio. Put your headphones on, because originally we only got down the hill was added to the video. Then they came back and added guys down the hill. Was that two different people? And now you just
I'll have to go
spliced
check that out.
it's two. Yes, it went from here's an image of a guy, here's a video of that image of that guy, here's the voice down the hill. Then it went to here's another one, guys down the hill. Then we went from bridge guy sketch. 2 years later, we have young bridge guy sketch, and we're all like, "What? Right? What? I don't even know about no Odinism yet, but what?"
Yeah.
And then I learned one of the main suspects over there in Odinism happened to have a son. Old guy, young guy, bridge guy. You tell me.
Yeah.
Is that old guy, young bridge guy? Possibly. Why wouldn't it be? Why couldn't it be? But y'all cleared
Well,
them.
what's crazy are the two sketches are from law enforcement.
Yeah,
So,
and the lady who put the second one out, that was the
yeah.
young guy. So like 2 years went by with their bridge guy sketch, and I guess she finally approached them and was like, "Why you haven't got this guy yet with this sketch you're using? Why haven't you put my sketch out yet? Because you can't tell who that is in the face of the bridge guy, just
Right.
from what we've seen." And for some reason, they went ahead and put that out there. And then, but when they did, they continued to say that was still the same person as the other sketch. And we're
Yeah,
all like,
that's what's crazy.
that's
We're not blind.
in a parallel world. Y'all see what I see, officer? You're literally, and then you're going to say, we got to find the clip of Doug doing it. You know, it's out there.
Yeah, he's trying to convince people. I'm just
He's like,
what
they're
in the
gonna
world?
merge. He does his hands, and his hands come together. Because magical, he's so magical with the way he talks, and that's a word I'm going to use for you, Doug Carter, is magical, and there's a reason. But your hands come together, all magical. Young guy and bridge, the two images, guys, they're going to merge together, and they're the same guy. What do you mean they're merging together? Can I get that drawing of the middleman, the middle-aged person of this old guy, young guy? I need that guy. Apparently, I need him too. What the hell? That is the weirdest thing you ever heard in your life. So, and then you
Yeah,
want me to
never,
go off.
never heard
Now
anything
you
like
want me to
that.
believe that you won't even allow this third-party defense crap after I done found out how y'all botched the evidence pertaining to those particular people.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, don't question me for questioning you.
Right.
That's gaslighting, man. At its best.
Exactly.
All right. So anyway, guys, 12 gauge, thanks for coming in. I appreciate you dropping by. Like I said, guys, we did a whole recap on the Crystal Rogers case. You can catch it on the replay and catch up on what we said. I'll be presenting that case from the beginning to give you guys a really good backstory on it, because it's an important case moving forward, and a lot of things have happened there, and the timeline's important. That what has went on, and still still going on right now. So I hope they find her during this search and finally get some peace for that family and, justice for Crystal. So with that said, guys, I'm going to go for the night. And again, thank you for coming in. I really do appreciate it. Have a good
Thank you,
night.
everyone. Good night.